I ate one bowl of watermelon, and it was so delicious. From what I've read and heard from other sources, is so my experience with doing a prolonged fast and then doing a refeed after a prolonged fast. So once I completed my 21-day fast, I set aside 5 days where I pretty much just reintroduced, reintroduced food into my diet. And the meal that I chose to break my fast with was watermelon. And so that first day after I completed my fast, I ate one bowl of watermelon, and it was so delicious. From what I've read and heard from other sources is that choosing food that is high in water content, so fruit mainly. Watermelon is probably the most known fruit and the probably the most popular fruit that people choose to break their fast with because it's very high in water content, high in fiber, and it's good. It's easy for the body to digest, and that's really the most important part. You don't want to eat processed foods right after you do a prolonged fast because that can be very hard on your digestive system and your stomach, and it can be very uncomfortable. So you really want to be careful with the foods that you choose. I highly suggest, especially the first few days when you're starting to eat again, choose fruits, something that's very light on the stomach. And as you progress through your refeed days, that's when you start to introduce more solid foods, maybe foods that you were eating previously. I wouldn't suggest it. I think after you do a long-term fast, that's probably the best time for you to start reevaluating your diet, your lifestyle. That's the problem that I ran into after I did my fast. I did my refeed, like I did it the right way. I broke it with the watermelon, and for 5 days I just ate a lot of fruit, high in water content, and I started to eat soups towards the end. I just wanted to eat food that wasn't going to be too hard on my stomach. But once my refeed was done, I didn't take the time to plan out my diet after that. And so, the biggest thing that I can recommend is that once you do your refeed and your body is kind of reset, your taste buds are reset, you haven't eaten a lot of foods that were high in sodium or sugars, so, it's a perfect time to reset your diet after that. But, that's just my experience with the refeed. Try to eat fruits that are high in water content, that will be easy to digest, whole foods. Try to avoid foods that are harder for the body to process. And I would even say like vegetables too. You got to be really careful about that. Something like broccoli right off the bat is probably not the best idea because it's not very high in water content, and it's going to be a lot harder for the body to digest it. Even though it's a whole food, it's just that it's not. It doesn't have a lot of water to it, if you know what I mean. I'm not an expert. I'm just a guy with a YouTube channel. I've fasted several times. This is the stuff that I've learned. You should always research and do your own due diligence when it comes to that. But, that's just my experience. I plan on in the future doing a more in-depth video about refeeding after a prolonged fast, but I just want to give you just a quick snippet of my experience and just kind of what I suggest. So, do what you may with this information. Always seek the answers for yourself, and eat fruit.